Hello and welcome back to my channel, The Midwife Life. So today I'm going to be telling you all about my experience on placement on the postnatal ward. Just a little thing before I get started, a little disclaimer, which I say every video, but this is what happens in my trust. These are the guidelines that I follow in my trust. It might not necessarily be the same where you are. Guidelines differ very, very slightly, but generally the general gist of what happens on postnatal ward will be something similar to this. So before Christmas I was on placement for 4 weeks and I was placed on the postnatal ward, which I absolutely loved. I love the postnatal ward. As I said, I was on here for 4 weeks and it was 3 12.5-hour shifts a week. So I did about 150 hours, which was a lot. I was very, very tired and thankful that it was Christmas. I had 2 weeks off for Christmas afterwards. I really do need to put this on Do Not Disturb when I'm filming because I keep getting notifications. I had a mixture of long days and nights, and one thing I did really struggle with was the mixture of shifts. So for example, on Monday I was on a long day and then the Tuesday I was on a night. So the sleeping pattern was kind of a bit off and it just threw my whole routine off because I'd have to sleep after my long day because I was so tired, and then figure out a way to get myself to sleep during the day on Tuesday so that I wasn't tired for my night shift. So that's one thing that I did struggle with, but I got through it obviously, and the nights were quite nice actually. There was a couple of busy nights, but for the majority of the time it was quite a chill, steady flow of things to do, if that makes sense. So it wasn't overly busy, but it wasn't like I was just sat around doing nothing all night. Made it a bit easier to get through the night, because I find that if you're on a night and there's just nothing to do, you're just sat doing absolutely nothing obviously, and that just makes you feel tired. It gets to like 3 in the morning, you've sat and done nothing and you're literally falling asleep. Whereas if you've got a steady flow of things to do or you're really busy, it makes it go quite quickly and makes it a lot easier, and you're not sat there at 3 in the morning falling asleep. Let's get into what I actually did and what I actually learned on postnatal ward. So postnatal ward, there was about, how many beds were there? I want to say about 20 beds. And they were in bays and then side rooms. So we had 3 bays, A, B and C, and then there was 10 side rooms, 11 side rooms. I probably work this out, to be honest. 4 is 12 plus 11. 23. There must be 23 then, if I've just worked that out correctly. So what generally happens is a woman gives birth on the delivery suite or wherever she's delivered, and then after a few hours, after like the first feed, a bit of skin to skin, they come down to us and we look after them postnatally for a few days, or generally they go home the next day now because of COVID and everything. Like, we try and get them out a lot quicker than we used to. There is a lot to remember on postnatal ward. Like, you have to do quite a lot of stuff. I have to work from top to bottom. So when they first come down, you have to do like a full postnatal check on both mum and baby. So with mum, like I said, I have to do top to bottom. You ask about legs, so what you're looking for is like deep vein thrombosis, so no excessive swelling, heat patches, like redness, that sort of thing. And then you ask about blood loss, so it's not too heavy. Checking the pads when they first come down, do they need their sheets changing, that sort of thing. Going to the toilet, so sometimes they're fitted with a catheter, so you have to drain the catheter and see how much is in there. What else? Like, if they haven't had a catheter, have they been to the toilet yet? Moving up, what's next? So if they've had a C-section, you're checking their dressing, checking their wound, no excessive blood on the dressing. It's not like soaking through the dressing, that kind of thing. If they haven't had a C-section, then you're just palpating the abdomen, just making sure that the uterus is like contracted and starting to go down. And breasts, boobs. If they're breastfeeding, ask how breastfeeding's been going. Have they got any like pain or tenderness, making sure that they're comfortable and happy. Then what else? If they're not breastfeeding, then asking about natural suppression, like do they know about natural suppression of lactation. Obviously at this, like when they first come down, they're not really worried about that at the moment. Yeah, it's just something to be mindful of. And then just like their general mood, so I go to like their head, so just their general mood. Are they okay? Are they feeling quite happy? Obviously gonna be a bit tired. Oh god, I've got my ring stuck. I knew this one wasn't a good idea. Oh fuck. It's stuck. Backtracking a little bit, the other thing we do during this postnatal assessment is checking their perineum for signs of infection, if they've had tears, checking that the stitches are healing nicely. Yeah, some women don't want you to look. Some women say, you know, it's absolutely fine, it feels comfortable, I know what to look for, no signs of infection, etc. And they'll be quite happy. I try and get to have a look once during their stay, just for your reassurance and just to say that you've had a look. But like I said, some women are just, they don't want you to have a look, they're fine with it. I'm gonna go get my little notebook because I carry this little notebook around with me wherever I go on placement and just like jot things down. Here it is, my little trusty notebook. So legs, PV loss, going to the toilet, wound if they've got a C-section wound, checking the uterus is contracted, and then breasts, and then the mood. So yeah, that's everything. I remembered everything. I'm quite impressed with myself. Seeing as I haven't been on there since before Christmas. Moving on to baby. So again, I do it like top to bottom or bottom to top, whatever's easiest. I can't actually remember the way I do it. I just kind of go through because I have a list in my head now of the different things that I'm doing, so I just kind of do it now, do you know what I mean? Anyway, so you're checking the tone, so they're not floppy, they're nice and alert, they've got good colour, so they're not like jaundice, and they're nice and pink. What else? Eyes, checking their eyes so they're not sticky or any signs of jaundice and like the whites of their eyes. Checking their mouth, nice, clean and moist. They've got like the soft palate and the hard palate. Checking their cord, nice, clean, dry, like starting to dry out. No like signs of infection or anything. Checking their tummy, it's not like distended, so it's nice and soft. Skin, so like no skin issues, no like marks or rashes or abnormal, anything abnormal. Anything you notice that you think, oh, that's not quite right, that's what we're looking for. And then wet and dirty nappies. So ask the mum, how many wet and dirty nappies have you had? And when they first come down, you're doing a temperature check. Just do it by, I don't know what they're called. It's like a little probe, and you put it under their armpit. So it's an axilla. Never know how to say that word, but anyway. Ask about feeding. Have they had a feed? Have they had a good feed since they've been born? How much did they have? How long were they on the breast for? How much formula did they have if they're formula feeding? And that's pretty much it with the baby. And just, yeah, just making sure that mum's happy with baby and she's got no concerns or questions about herself or the baby. So they are your full postnatal checks. You do them every single day that they're on the ward. So when they first come down, and then every day that they're on the ward, like I said. Then moving on, they have observations, so blood pressure, temperature, pulse, breathing rate, 2 sats. I knew there was something else. And some women are on them for 4 hourlies, so they have them every 4 hours, and some of them are on dailies. It just depends on their risk factors and what happened during delivery, and if they've had any problems prop up or issues prop up since delivery. Now, one thing I can't remember is if all women come down and start off on 4 hourly obs, or if it's just the ones that have problems or issues that have popped up. Oh, I can't remember. That's gonna bug me, because some women are on 4 hourlies and some are on dailies, like I said, and I can't remember if they're all on 4 hourlies to start with, and then after a certain amount of time they're on dailies, or if the women that are on dailies from the start. Now, I've written here 4 hourly obs for 12 hours. I think that's right. Like I say, I will double check. If I'm right, I'll put a little big tick here. A little big tick? That didn't make sense, did it? If I'm right, I'll put a tick here, but if I'm wrong, I will explain. But yeah, I've written here 4 hourly obs for 12 hours, so I think all women are on 4 hourly obs for 12 hours, and then after that, it's dailies. But moving on to catheter. So if a woman has a catheter in, then after 12 hours, they can have it taken out if it's draining correctly, if they've had urinary output of, I think it's 100 mils an hour they're supposed to meet, and if it's been fine like that, then they can have it out after 12 hours. If they've come down during the day, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then you're not going to take it out at 3 o'clock in the morning, are you? So then that can wait until the morning, obviously. But the general rule is after 12 hours, if it's been draining correctly, if they've had a good urine output, then it can come out after 12 hours. The other thing we do on postnatal ward is drug rounds. So there's lots of different abbreviations for different drugs and different dosages. So you have once a day, which I think is OD. twice a day, which is BD, 3 times a day, which is TDS, and 4 times a day, which is QDS. Then some drugs are TTOs, so to take out. So this is generally like tinzaparin, which is the blood thinning injection. We have to do TTOs for them before they get discharged home, and they just take them home, and that's what TTO means. I'm not going to go through every single drug on the planet that we use on postnatal, because you'll learn that when you go on there, and I'll probably get it wrong if I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But the 2 main like painkillers are paracetamol and ibuprofen. Now paracetamol is every 6 hours and ibuprofen is every 8 hours. Yeah, they're the 2 main, paracetamol and ibuprofen. Some of them have Oromorph, just a bit of a stronger painkiller like morphine, when they first come down, because they can be in quite a lot of pain. So especially like after C-section, and if they've had sutures or tears or anything, it's just a bit strong painkiller. So yeah, some women have that. I think they're like the main ones. Some women are on IV antibiotics for obvious reasons, antibiotics, infection, etc. I never actually did the IVs, like put them together, drain it, hang it up, put it through, blah blah blah, because I think you have to do an extra course. I'm not really sure. I don't really know, but I never did it. I was helped, like observed and passed the midwife things, but I never actually did the IVs. Cannulation, or taking it out of cannulas than putting it in. If women have got like good urine output and have met all like the requirements for urine output, then cannula can come out. So I took a good few cannulas out, which was very, very nice for the women. They were very grateful for that. So we did have some extra care babies. So one bay in the postnatal ward, I think it was C bay, was like the extra care babies and transitional care babies. So babies that are on IV antibiotics, or babies who are on NEWTs. Some babies are on NEWTs, which, don't ask me what that stands for. It used to be NEWS and now it's NEWT. So it used to be Newborn Early Warning Score, but now it's NEWT, which is again Newborn Early Warning, but I don't know what the 2 T's stand for. But it's the same thing really. So you do heart rate and O2 saturation. So they have this machine that has like a wire, and then it has 2 sensors. So pretend these are the sensors, and then you grab the hand and you put one on each side, and it gets the O2 saturation and the heart rate. What else you do? So heart rate, O2 sats, rests, and temperature, which is under the arm, like I mentioned earlier with the probe under the arm, axilla. And that's what a NEWT is, to be honest. I think that's pretty much it. And then the big one is breastfeeding support. Feeding support in general as well, like helping with sterilisation, helping with pumps, breastfeeding support, hand expression, that kind of thing. WSAs are really, really good at that, like really good at that. They are such a big help. One tip I have is ask the WSAs about breastfeeding and helping with breastfeeding support and everything, because they are very, very knowledgeable and know everything. Praise the Lord for WSAs, honestly. They are so helpful, and they're also lovely. They're all willing to help with you, like help you with whatever. And I think, like I said earlier, just doing little things like helping them make the beds and washing the beds, and tristaling, which is now a big thing because of COVID and everything, obviously. Just helping them, mopping the floors, etc. It's just a big help, because like I said, they do a lot for us. What else did I do? Discharge Talks. So when you're discharging a woman home, at our trust we have this book, After the Birth book, and it's got everything they need to know about the postnatal period, like caring for their baby, caring for themselves, registering the birth, registering the baby with the GP, that kind of thing, contact numbers that they might need. It's got everything in there. And when you discharge someone, you have to go through that. You have to go through all the information with them about reducing cot death, safe sleeping, feeding, just everything, like signs of an unwell baby. I just wanted to add in here that the first time I did a discharge talk, I was so nervous, but you quickly memorise all the information and come up with your own kind of way of giving the information, so your own sort of spiel to give to the women and get all the information across to them. The thing that we do on postnatal is taking blood. I went through a bit of a dry spell during postnatal where I'd get the flashback and then nothing would come into the tube, the blood bottle. So midwives who've been qualified for years still miss sometimes. It's totally normal, it's totally okay. One thing I will say about postnatal is there is a lot of documentation. Literally everything you do, you have to like write it down. So if even it's as simple as answer the buzzer, they wanted this, like write it down. So there's a lot of note taking, a lot of documentation, and that's about it really. You'll learn a lot more than what I've just told you. But overall, I just loved postnatal. I absolutely love it there. I just felt like a proper midwife, like I knew exactly what I was doing, and everybody, like I just got on with everybody on the ward, like WSAs, midwife, everybody on there was just lovely. So yeah, I just loved it on there. I loved it on there. I cannot express to you how much. I'm just gonna keep saying that I loved it. I was really sad to leave, just because they just felt like I don't know, like a family on there. Do you know what I mean? Like they were just really helpful and just let me do anything and everything that I could do. Yeah, it was just lovely. I'm gonna leave this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are new. And yeah, I hope it gave you a bit of an insight into what happens on postnatal ward. Like I say, my experience was just lovely. It's not for everybody. Every midwife has like their different preference of where they like to work. But I loved it on postnatal. I can definitely see myself as being like a midwife on postnatal. So yeah, but yeah, I love it on there. Anyway, I'm gonna say goodbye and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.